All right, today we have the Galaxy Z Fold3 5G. I'm looking forward to this guy. You can tell it's a very thin box because the phone is open, right, folded. Now this is the T-Mobile variant. I think they're all relatively the same. I ordered from Samsung that came with the T-Mobile SIM card in the box. There's the outside piece, nothing in here. Nice little background Z action. Here's the phone. It is impressively thin like this because, I'm used to having a Samsung Galaxy Note 20. You can see this wide open like this is pretty neat. In the box here, we just have this Samsung pack. It has a SIM ejection tool, of course, and then in here is just a USB-C to C cord and just general paperwork. I did technically pre-order it, so it did come with the Premier service benefit, but we don't need any of this stuff right now. And that's all that's in the box. As you know, thanks to Apple, no more power bricks, which I'm really fine with because this isn't a super fast charger, it's just a normal charger. So I got black on black, a little symbol there letting you know where the SIM card goes. And there we are. It's a decent little weight to it. It will leave some fingerprints. Did not get a case yet. I'll need to order one, I guess. And of course, it folds. So if you set it side by side with the old Samsung Galaxy Note 20, so you can see there is a big difference how thick they are. And of course, the Note by itself is taller. So this is why I think if I have a problem with the Fold, it's going to be this, is that, side by side, the Fold is nowhere near as wide or as tall as the Note, right? I have big hands, I like a big phone. Now, of course, when you open this bad boy up, it will be substantially wider than the Note, right? Obviously. The folded mechanism is insanely cool. They do have them at Best Buy, so you can go out and check them out. All the big time reviewers are making videos now and saying that the Flip 3, the one that folds, this way, is the one to get, which makes zero sense to me. I mean, I guess if you had small hands and small pockets, like I don't know, maybe you'd want it to fold, fit in your pocket, but not me. I have big hands, I want a big phone. So my only concern is using it in this mode, it might be too small for me. But as far as in this mode, it's gonna be awesome. On the device, we have a USB-C port, accessory microphone and speaker. Here's just the all black side here, and there are your 3 cameras. Up top, we have more microphones. There's a volume button. There's your SIM card tray there, and this is the power button. It does depress and has a built-in fingerprint reader in there. The Razer Phone 2 had that, and really, I wish more people would go that way. It's such a better way than the fingerprint and the screen, of course. Let's do a little turn-on action. So that's pretty neat how it does that. So in person, like this, which is a weird angle, I'm having to adjust up, will stand up. I mean, obviously you can see that fold big time there, but this is a pretty cool screen. So let's go back to starting it. It's telling me to insert a SIM card. It won't work without a SIM card, that's very odd. Very interesting. All right, I guess while we're at it, we'll go ahead and just put it right to the SIM card. So again, even though it came with a SIM card, I'm just gonna put the one in from my Note. It is just a single SIM card tray. There is no SD card slot, just single SIM card. The Pixel 4a 5G had an eSIM, which is pretty cool. I would think a high-end device like this should have an eSIM, but apparently not. All right, so now we gotta restart it with the SIM card in there. So even with the phone off like this, you can still tell that there is a indent in the screen. Although I've never had a phone that wouldn't work without the SIM card. It's very odd. Standard T-Mobile screen. It's so cool to see how big this is though, right? So let's do a little start action, some legal terms. You can choose a Wi-Fi network. I will pick mine. So it does have that little split keyboard, which I don't like. I don't know, it's not terrible, I guess. Type on the split keyboard. I will probably make it just one keyboard. Oh yeah, you just hit this button. It splits it or puts it back together. This makes it a tiny keyboard. And this splits it. That's pretty neat. All right, so this is on my Wi-Fi now. This is in the box, that's what all this border is. I don't want to copy, I'm gonna set up fresh. You can see it is fairly noticeable that that's where the selfie camera is when it's open. Now, of course, when the phone's closed, you have multiple cameras, so it's been a lot of hubbub about that on the major reviewers, but I don't care about that. It doesn't bother me at all. I very much like typing on this. So I have large hands. So I'm a big, powerful man. If you don't have small hands, like my wife has small hands, my buddy Tony has really small hands, like shockingly small hands for a man. And so he may not, care for those kind of things.
Give me your other hand. Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand. No, get it away from me.
My wife, of course, it might be too big for her to type on, or Tony, their hands, maybe they're not good for them, but me, I have very large hands, so I like large phones, right? So we're just going through the standard Google stuff here. All right, so I guess now I need to set up some stuff, so I'll take it back out of here. And let's see what happens when we close it. Nothing. All right, so there we go. So there you can see it works like this as well. And this is a weird thing. It tells you have to open up your phone to set your fingerprint, which is odd, but we'll do it. You know, I mean, I do like having an on-screen display fingerprint sensor better than on the back, but it is pretty nice. Physical ones are obviously faster. So, I mean, I wish more phones would do this. I assume Samsung didn't want to just put two sensors, you know, one inside here and one on the other screen. So that's why they did it. But so I do want Scam Shield, but I don't want McAfee security. I do use that T-Mobile service. So I do have a Samsung account, so let me put that in. I really like typing with this phone open like this. I wasn't sure how I was gonna like that, but I love it. This is using Samsung's keyboard. I'm sure I can switch it to SwiftKey, which is what I prefer. I like the Samsung has a little two-step verification. So Samsung asked me if I'm verifying it in, so then I do. Gives me a little two-factor action. All right, so T-Mobile services, of course, a little protecting your phone action. So it is pretty neat. It's how large the screen is, right? I mean, obviously that's the point of the phone, but it's still pretty awesome. Just for reference, here's my Note 20, which is no small phone by any means. And you can see how much larger that is and how cool that is. It is odd that it still has the Samsung messages. I thought they were going all in on Google messages, but it'll be all right. So I'm sure we have some updates to apply. While we're here though, let's take a look. So it's cool seeing like the settings like that, so you can see how they look on a regular Samsung phone versus the double-sided, right? So that's pretty neat. Let's just go to About Phone. Let's go to Settings. General management. So we have 256 gigs, only 14% used currently. And let's take a look at memory. So 7 gigs out of 12 gigs of RAM. All right, so that's pretty good for a phone, certainly. And we'll see if there's any software updates. It says it's up to date with the July 1st update, which is newer than the Note, which is really annoying, really. If you look at my Samsung Galaxy Note, it's on June 1st, and this one is on July 1st. It is currently August 28th, so it should be on a newer version than that. So, and this is a little odd that the buttons here on this side, like I don't like gestures, so I would like these set up, but it seems like it would stretch it all out in the phone instead of keeping it all in the corner. But you know, what are you gonna do? Then you also have this little slide out guy, which is really nice. I mean, I like that feature on Samsung phones. I use it on here, right? You can see I pull out and there's my little apps on the device already. Of course, Google apps. We have just the Google search, Chrome, Gmail, Maps, YouTube, Drive, Google Play, Movies and TV. That'll go away when they update it, I guess. Duo and Photos, all stuff that I would use. Microsoft apps, LinkedIn, Office, OneDrive and Outlook, again, all apps I'll use. I don't care that they're pre-installed. Samsung apps, AR Zone I'll never use. Bixby I probably won't use. Galaxy Wearable I will use. I do use the Samsung Watch. My Files, which is a good app. Samsung TV Plus I won't use. Samsung Members I won't use. Samsung Health I do use. Pinup. So this will use an S Pen, but not the one that comes in the Note. And Smart Things, I don't use either one of those, but I can uninstall those. T-Mobile's just those 2 apps, which I'm fine with. Outside of that, there's this Samsung Free, which is their little, you know, if you go over here. Oh, it's Google.
Look at that. You can't do it. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
The Note, of course, you got to use the Samsung Free thing, and now it's going to the Google setup, which is nice. And then, really nothing major. Samsung Global Goals, you can remove that. Samsung Notes, I love. The rest, that's all Samsung stuff. Samsung Calendar, I really love. That's going to look awesome on this big-ass phone. It's pretty legit, obviously. You know, it goes here. Fingerprints nice and fast. Of course, tiny, open, big. It's pretty nice. Let me get everything updated and stuff, and then we'll do like a benchmark or something and take a look. All right, so here we are. Not even 24 hours removed. I opened it up last night. I obviously slept, so I've had less than 24 hours, more than 12 hours, but obviously they were sleeping in there. And I gotta say, I love this device. I went to Best Buy and saw it before I had ordered it, but it hadn't arrived yet. And I went to Best Buy and checked it out, and I thought, I don't know. I'm not gonna like that, because I thought the outside screen was so small, and I was used to using the Note, and I just didn't think I would like it. Now again, we're still less than 24 hours with the device, but I went to a restaurant today with it, drove, used Android Auto with it. I obviously sat in the recliner with the dogs, messing around with this thing, and it is awesome. So, you know, obviously I can get it stand up like that. Other phones won't, so it's pretty cool. So again, the Note is taller and wider than an individual screen and taller than the whole screen, of course, but obviously it's not even close when you leave it open. So it took me a little bit fiddling with it to get things set up kind of how I like it. It still has this little side piece from Samsung that I like a lot. And obviously still has Samsung Pay, which is great. When you close it, it is tiny. The side fingerprint sensor is awesome. I like it. You do have to depress it a little bit, kind of wake it up, but it works. You get used to it pretty quickly. So when you have it like this, and you have it like this, right? It's a very drastic difference between the devices. But This really is just meant for spot checking. Like you pull it out your phone, you know, over there going through Google. It's kind of neat looking at these little things. It's, you know, I don't say words like cute, but if I was to say cute, it is kind of cute how this little small screen is, right? It's kind of neat looking, even if you check your email. Like, you know, I got a new device, check my Google location history. You can read things just fine. Now, if you want to type a text, so if I want to type to Tony, right? Like it's a little hard typing on here. I can still do it though. I've tried it. You know, I'll type "you suck, Tony." Until you mess it up there. You suck. I sent Tony a message that said "you suck," because you know Tony sucks. So that one is a little tiny to work on, but it works. I can do it. Now, when you go to this glorious inside boy and you type on here, I mean, you really suck. So again, I'm typing towards the camera, so it's not super convenient, but there are some odd things though, right? Like, you know, I have my display set to certain settings. Like if I open up the Uconnect app for my Jeep, it's kind of all squished in there. But like if I do it for my Note, you know, there's a very difference in appearance here, right? It kind of makes the circles. So that's one app that looks kind of weird. If we go to Instagram, so let's look at Kentucky native Jack Harlow. So you can see his stuff here, right? And then, so if we're looking at a Jack Harlow post here, right? So you can see how it looks there. So if we go to settings, advanced features, then labs, and then you can go to customize app aspect ratio. So let's go to Instagram, and you can choose full screen, 4:3, or app defaults. Let's go by the defaults, which what it was already. Sam Be Yourself, he was on a Netflix Rhythm and Flow. Also interviewed him. So here's what it looks like when you do the default 16:10. We change it to 4:3. You can see at 4:3, it kind of fills the screen up. You can see how it looks. And if you go to the full screen, you can see it does fill up the entire screen. And of course that varies by how you have the display set up and whatnot. So I mean, it's pretty fresh to having a big screen like that, right? I've been leaving it on the 4:3 aspect ratio. You can see, and it gives you a little space on the sides. That was what I was trying to show with the keyboard here, if I can figure out how to get back to that screen. Let's go to settings, general manager, and there you go, language and keyboard. So we change it to Samsung. This is the default settings for the Samsung keyboard. So we change it back to Microsoft Swift key. I had to make this change the settings here. If you go to keyboard and then settings, you can go to layout and keys and then go to resize. And I had to squeeze it in some. So I brought it down and I got rid of the number row. Like normally I have the numbers on top, you know, going all the way out. So Swift key is my preferred keyboard. So now it works pretty good. So I got rid of the numbers and then squished those in a little bit. Like when I first set it to Swift key, they went all the way to the edges. But I noticed the Samsung keyboard was squished in a little bit. And the Samsung keyboard was working fine. I've just used Swift key for years, so it knows my language and my predictive text pretty good. Like I can just start typing and it can practically finish the sentence for me. So I don't know. I mean, that's probably it, right? I mean, like it's the physical keyboard's nice and quick. I need to put this hand in here, right? So I can just do it like this and then scroll. Obviously, the Kindle app will be pretty good on here. I mean, 9 times out of 10 or probably 10 times out of 10, I would prefer to use my actual Kindle. But, you know, if you're going to read a book on a phone, it's going to be way better with this big screen like this as opposed to on a regular phone size, right? I purchased this with my own money. I just wanted to try a folding phone out, right? I mean, obviously, any phone's a folding phone if you're not a little bit. No! But I didn't want to break this one, so I didn't fold it. And this is the Note 20. I've had a lot of phones in my time, even before I made videos on them. I had tons of phones, even going back to BlackBerry phones, the BlackBerry Bold 9000, the BlackBerry Style, which was sort of a flip phone. And I've held this phone for a very long time, the Note 20. I've had it the whole, since it's been out, I haven't changed. I bought the LG V60 and it just wasn't the same. And this Note 20 Ultra has been my go-to phone. I've loved it. I purchased this with my own money. I set to trade in the Note on the Fold. And then I thought, well, maybe I won't like it. When I looked at it at Best Buy, I was worried that the screen's so small like this that I'm not gonna like just using it like this. But like I said, it's less than 24 hours, but in my time with it, it's fine doing it like this, right? I don't mind just scrolling through my Google feed like this. And then obviously when you can open it up and go to the full size party, it is just awesome, right? I just can't imagine going back. Like I said, I have large hands, and when I type on here, it's pretty great. I like this. And then I've used the camera, right? As far as like the internal camera, when it's black, you really don't notice it. When it's white, if I look right at it, it's very noticeable. But when you're actually using the phone like a phone or like a big tablet screen, you don't notice it. It just kind of blurs out. I would say less noticeable than even the center dot like this, right? Outside of that, like I said, it's slick here. I did get a case. I will say, Now, granted, it is a brand new phone. Like, I just opened it yesterday, of course. And I'm generally careful with my phones in the first place, but you know, I do have an OtterBox case on this. I've tried a couple different cases. I always keep my phones in cases. This one I don't have a case for since it's so weird. And I don't generally drop phones. You know, Tony breaks things all the time. I don't break my devices. I've never broken a phone. I've never cracked a screen. But I still wear a case. I have occasionally dropped the phone. They'll fall out of my pocket or something like that. But Samsung phones are made very well, and I normally have a Samsung phone. Never had a problem. Again, we're less than 24 hours in, but I was kind of worried about this one. It's, you know, a $2,000 phone or $1,800 phone or whatever it is with the prices at the moment, but it's not cheap by any means. And I was kind of worried about dropping it. Again, I don't drop phones or anything like that. As far as like the weight, I saw a lot of people making comments about the weight. It is heavier, but it's nothing extraordinary, right? And we put in your pocket, like summertime here, of course, right? It's hot as can be. I'm wearing shorts. Sadie, my dog, broke my belt because she's 110 pounds and she pulled on my pants and it snapped my belt off. So I don't have a belt currently. It's not pulling my pants off. I did lose about 20 pounds recently, so my pants are a little looser than normal, but it wasn't like I put this in my pocket and it just fell right to the floor, right? It just, you know, if you're used to carrying a Note or, you know, generally a somewhat large phone, this is no big deal, I don't think, right? Now, if you're used to carrying like a tiny like iPhone SE or something like that, then this is gonna be probably a noticeable difference. But as far as if just having a regular phone in your pocket, a Note or any kind of large phone, S21, something like that, I think you'll probably won't hardly even notice the difference, other than it just being in a slightly different shape. The thickness doesn't bother me at all. It's, you know, obviously no problem at all to hold in my hand like this. You know, I can't quite touch it like that. So I mean, it's like this is almost easier to hold, right? Like it's perfect. And obviously you're just gonna pop it open when you have time to mess with it, right? You know, anything you look at is just cool on the screen. It's just hard to say, like Spotify. Like if you're gonna look at the whole album on Spotify or the, you know, the main now playing screen, that's pretty cool. If you're just scrolling through here, I mean, it's so nice just to have all this real estate to look at it. I mean, it's just awesome, right? Taking a picture with it, like you can see how cool it looks. I took a picture of my dog sleeping. And then if, you know, if you close it up, you can still see him here. So yeah, if you have it like this and then open, it should take it right there. But if you have it here and then close it, it kind of shuts the phone down. So it's not always going to be right back on the screen. Outside of that, you know, I can't reach across the phone one-handed anymore. So when you have it open, of course, it is a two-handed phone, but that's not a problem for me anyhow. I like using two hands to type on phones anyhow, so that's fine. I'm looking at emails and stuff. It's pretty legit here. You know, if you click on the weather to see the temperature there, right? It's, you know, nice to see that big screen. Oh, with settings, if you look at here at the settings, you can make it to be a 2-column or 1 column. I like the just one big long column, right? That works good for me. I'll have plenty of follow-ups. Well, I guess let's do a little benchmark action, I guess, right? So let's just see. Let's get some Geek Bench. That's another thing. The Note is one of the largest phones you can get currently, not counting a foldable phone. And once I use this for a while and go back to this, it feels like this is a tiny phone. Like the LG V60 is not as big as the Note 20. And when I would use the Note 20 and then go to the LG V60, I felt like the LG was a little small or shrunken in, which is not really the case. It's still a large phone, but I'm just used to using such a bigger device. And now when I go back, it's kind of jarring to look at this screen after being on this one. Like I put this phone up last night after I unboxed it and I was just using this. I had my SIM card in here, of course. So I was just using this as my phone. So that was just what I was doing. And then today, this morning, I got up and I pulled this phone up just to check to see if what it was like. And I was just like, my eyeballs felt weird looking at it, just like it was a tiny screen when obviously it's a very large phone. It just doesn't compare to the size of this thing. It's crazy. Let's do a little Geek Bench 5 action on both phones. So we're gonna run a benchmark on both phones here. We'll see what happens. I would expect the better benchmark to be on the newer phones. It has a newer processor, of course, but we'll see. It's too early, of course, to tell by battery life. I've had, you know, one day, not even a full day to use it, so I had no problems with battery. It does work on wireless charging, perfectly fine. My existing wireless chargers, it works fine on that. It worked fine on Android Auto, of course. I have not taken a phone call on it. I assume if I take a phone call, I'll use it closed instead of having the big wide screen up against my face, right? Even though I don't normally hold the phone to my face, usually I put in a pair of headphones and talk like that way, as opposed to having the phone just like all up in my face. And if I was to take a selfie with it, I probably wouldn't use this one anyhow. I would use, you know, one of these back cameras. It makes way more sense than using this one. That to me should just be something you use in a pinch if you had to take a Zoom call or something like that. But as far as just normal pictures, I would always use the better other cameras, right? So it's not really a problem. Like if you haven't watched other videos, of course, this one is not as good as the other cameras, but that's because it has that cover up feature, but I don't care about that. All right, so we got 1097 and then 3176. for your Geekbench. The Note coming right along. And again, there's nothing wrong with my Note. I have no complaints about it. It's a great phone. You know, I would upgrade to the newest one. If they made a new Note 21, I probably would get it just because. But it wasn't like, I hate this phone, I gotta get a new phone. I just wanted to check out, you know, the Fold has had version 1 and version 2, and I did not check those out. I never saw them in store. I never owned one, anything like that. This one I'm buying with my own money to use as my own phone. I got to send this one back to Samsung as a trade-in, and this Fold will be 100% my daily driver, everyday phone. I'll use it for work, for my calendar, tracking everything, right? It's gonna be the whole shebang. You can see it is a better score. So 945 and 3043. So not a huge difference, but still a better scores, of course. Now currently I'm filming everything on the Sony ZV-1, but in the past, my phones were how I recorded everything, right? I made my whole YouTube channel using a phone. That I could see potentially being weird. Like I can't imagine you'd be able to hold the phone like this without some kind of special contraption. So I mean, you can still hold it like this, I guess, but it might be a little weird. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can still run video like this. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have any complaints. It's not a big deal. Using this little screen just for short check-in items, right? You know, you're not gonna use this for everything. It's just gonna be like, pull it out of your pocket, check a text, check what happened. And you know, if I get a text I need to respond to, I can use one of the built-in responses, or, you know, I could just type something up, or I could hit the voice chat, or if I wanted to really like blast a message off, I would just open up and use the full, you know, typing scenario here, right? I like my screens big, and I like my font big, and my screen zoomed in. So, you know, if you're someone that likes it smaller, you can fit a lot more information on there, but I like things big and large, and it's just, you know, it's just great. You can see my editor. It's not really an editor, just some guy I pay to steals my money. So I sent him a picture on Discord last night, and he asked me what my impressions were. At 10 a.m., I told him I loved it. So you can tell, you know, I'm all in on this phone. All right, I guess that's it. It is the fingerprinting a little bit in the back. I am gonna order some kind of case for it, I guess, just because, you know, it's an expensive phone and you don't wanna break it, but it's great. I mean, it's such a cool device. So whenever they get to a point where it can be like this size and then still unfold even bigger, I mean, we're gonna be next level at that point. But right now, I mean, this is pretty amazing. Obviously, we've had phones out for like this for a couple of years. It's crazy to see it in person. Oh, I guess everyone wants to know about the fold in the middle. When I just pick it up and look at it, you can see the crease. But when I'm actually going through it, like if I'm scrolling through here, I don't pay attention to it. If I'm just scrolling here, I don't even notice it. If I'm typing a text or something like that, I don't notice it. It's just fine, right? So I don't know, it's awesome, right? So I mean, if you like large devices, this thing is pretty incredible. All right, thanks for checking me out.